Congress has been told they're not over war yet. The Congress has been told they don't get to see PDD 51. The Congress has been told they don't get details of the NSA center that they admit spies on the American people without warrants that they've built in Utah. I mean, I've got a CNET news article where the FBI openly admits they're spying on everybody without warrants now and is demanding that all the new software coming out has back doors so they can go in without warrants. That's not a free society. So again, you go to the bottom of Infowars.com, right-hand side to see that. Also, in the featured stories area, there's another cartoon, and it says bank. And it shows a little robber coming in with his mask on, holding up a gun, and there are 3 bank tellers dressed as robbers as well, laughing because they're about 20 feet tall compared to him, because they're the real robbers. Okay? Yeah, there's the Nazi one. And then you've got the one with the robbers that say Banco. That's, I guess that's out of France or Spain. The point is it wake up! Wake up! This is out of control! We've now got Army manuals on how they're going to take people to re-education camps for their political views. This is out of control. The Congress is told, sit down and shut up. They send in the generals now with the Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman and the rest of them, and arrogantly tell Congress, no, you're not in charge anymore. The UN is. I've played those clips over and over again. This is treason. This is a joke. Look at Europe. They've thrown out Sarkozy now, and the socialist has been put in. Exactly who they wanted. Socialist. Hollande in there. He's won the French presidency. Merkel's in trouble. She's loses power in the state election. Soon she'll be out. Angry voters deliver blow to Greece's ruling coalition. The problem is in most of these countries, they just put in the second string owned by the bankers. And who's funding Agenda 21 and UN takeovers and all this? Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, #1 funders of it. They want to get rid of your property rights because they want to use government to take your property and give it to them. Now, this video is of Larry Grathwohl, who, and this all came out in federal court. We have the documents, the articles, all of it linked at the top of Infowars.com. We played this many times over the years. But notice he's talking about Bill Ayers, the guy that helped put Obama through college, who helped pay for his house, his mentor, who said in these Weatherman meetings and giving orders out to be sent out to the subcommittees that we're going to take over America, we're going to bring in foreign troops. That's now in official documents, NLE 09, National Level Exercise 09, FEMA, with troops from 15 foreign countries. They said, we're going to come into America and we're going to take tens of millions of people, well, over that, to these re-education camps, and we're going to kill 25 million people. And folks, they mean business, okay? They're not setting up checkpoints and threat fusion centers and giant black tanks and federalizing the police for Al-Qaeda. I told you, Al-Qaeda works for them. That's now admitted. They now admit it's for you. It's for you. America has been hijacked. America has been taken over. I don't know how else to tell you. And a lot of people are waking up. That's why they're selling 5 million guns a month. Let's go to this clip and then to your phone calls. Here is from the 1982 documentary, breaking this down with Larry Grathwohl. Here it is.
I brought up the subject of what's going to happen after we take over the government. We become responsible then for administrating, 250 million people.
They want to kill you.
And there was no answers. No one had given any thought to economics. How are you going to clothe and feed these people? The only thing that I could get was that they expected that the Cubans and the North Vietnamese and the Chinese and the Russians would all want to occupy different portions of the United States. They also believed that their immediate responsibility would be to protect against what they called the counter-revolution. And they felt that this counter-revolution could best be guarded against by creating and establishing re-education centers in the Southwest.
Good pause. Back it up 5 seconds. Homeland Security was always for the American people. And while they've got you saluting plastic made in China American flags bought at Walmart, while they've got you busy taking your flu shot and getting Alzheimer's, while they're busy doing all this, while you're busy worshiping the system as if that's patriotism, you've always been the enemy. And now it's announced, white Al-Qaeda is the #1 threat. Domestic threats. They're not worried about foreign enemies. It was always for you, because the enemies, the same people that shipped guns into Mexico to blame the Second Amendment, the terrorist, that was a problem, reaction, solution, false flag, they are in control. But only by recognizing that do we have any hope to turn this around. And by the way, we are turning it around. Continue.
In establishing re-education centers in the Southwest, where we would take all the people who needed to be re-educated into the new way of thinking and teach them how things were going to be. I ask, well, what is going to happen to those people that we can't re-educate, that are die-hard capitalists? And the reply was that they'd have to be eliminated. And when I pursued this further, they estimated that they would have to eliminate 25 million people in these re-education centers. And when I say eliminate, I mean kill 25 million people. I want you to imagine sitting in a room with 25 people, most of which have graduate degrees from Columbia and other well-known educational centers, and hear them figuring out the logistics for the elimination of 25 million people. And they were dead serious.
That's from the documentary No Place to Hide. And that all came out in federal court. They admitted to this. Now, the Ford Foundation, Rockefeller Foundation, they openly fund this communist movement. The UN is saying break off the Southwest and give it to Mexico right now. I told you that was coming years ago. This is not a game. And I've been sent by police the training videos where FEMA, I mean, it's in my film Road to Tyranny. You can watch it for free online. Talk about, it's right out of Red Dawn, where they got everybody in a re-education camp, and they're saying the founding fathers are pieces of filth and all this. Forget Red Dawn, some Hollywood image of a commie takeover. I have FEMA teaching a room full of Kansas City police, firemen, and sheriff deputies that the founding fathers were evil, that George Washington was bad. And I could open the phones up right. What do you make of all of this, openly admitting re-education camps for those of us that don't love the government? I guess we're supposed to just get on the Army trucks and give them our kids and go on down there. But I guess the American people are buying 5 million guns a month. I don't think they're going to go get on the trucks.
I don't think so at all, and it's amazing that that documentation has come out, because we all knew it was true and we all knew it was out there, but to see it actually on paper that they're actually planning this, and the only question I really have is, do you really expect to be able to pull this off as smoothly as you're putting it down on paper? Because I don't think the people are going to walk into those camps of their own free will.
All the Marines, you know, what would they do?
Well, it's probably half and half, to be true. I mean, half the military will pretty much do anything they're told. But another half, they're capable of introspective thought and capable of really looking at what their oath meant. And I think that at the very least they would be reluctant, and a very large amount would outright refuse to carry out these orders. I knew Marines who I had told when I was in, I said, if we ever get these orders, I'm refusing them, and I'm just letting you know that right now. And they were fine.
Because there's been constant training for it. I mean, I've been to the drills. What do you make of this?
I think it's straight out of the pages of Nazi Party and Stalin, and it's unacceptable. I will fight to defend my home and my family at the doorstep if it comes to that. I'm not going to give up.
Well, the thing is, if I was single, I could say, well, politically things change. I might survive the camp. But with kids, it's just like, you know what? I can't give them over to the pedophile government. It's just, that's it. Okay, fine. And can you imagine? But then they said they're going to bring in foreign troops after that. They plan on the military and police being destroyed by us. They plan on having us have a civil war. Comments on that?
Well, I think that's basically what's going to happen, because they're going to, in the first opening days of whatever horrific event is going to allow them to start hauling people out to camps. A lot of cops and officers are just going to follow orders. But if they destroy themselves trying to throw American citizens into camps, and I don't think they were going to be able to do it. They're going to have to bring in.
Can you imagine what's going to happen to them?
Admiral Yamamoto, supreme leader of the Japanese Imperial Navy, says that there was no way that he would come in and take over the U.S. because there's going to be a gun behind every blade of grass. I don't think these people understand the...
This hit in 95 when they bombed it and acted like saviors. Exactly. People know about the White House memos saying they should bomb again.
Well, we see after Katrina, just a couple days after that, that a third of the police force refused to show up to work. They were either going home to protect their families or they had trouble with the orders they had been given. So they do know that they're going to have to bring in these outside disconnected units to do this. Like they brought in a unit, a National Guard unit from Arkansas to patrol the streets in Louisiana, brought in people from out of town. Well, you take that to a level farther, bring someone from out of the country who has absolutely no loyalty to the rule of law of this country or to the people of this country. And I think,
And by the way, that's in NLE 09. This is Congress 2 years ago is like, we want to know about plans to use foreign troops in America. And the foreign banks that run the Pentagon said, literally, go jump in the lake. What do you guys make of in Congress being told you have no authority over war now? I mean, just it's amazing how everything we warned of is now coming true.
well, you see the decline of the empire being laid out in the headlines. Just the mainstream media is not acknowledging this. This was going on with the decline of the Roman Empire. You see these things like, I've read this before, how the executive branch just becomes totally unaccountable and the legislative branch just becomes a rubber stamp on anything you say. This is America. It's not supposed to happen here, but it is happening here right in front of our eyes.
Our legislature voted unanimously to not let TSA grow up their children because it was happened to all the House members' kids. I've interviewed them. And the Fed said, we'll have a military blockade.
I think that's a hollow threat, and I think we should call them on their bluff. We have every right to. This is our country, darn it. We've got to stand up for what we have. We're going to lose everything.
We are losing it right now. What do you make of the...
A lot of things that you can do. Number one, get your rights back on a local level, and that's going to have a lot more strength than a lot of people think. And then you go to the county and the state. And once you get your state's rights, then you pretty much have a good blockade against the federal government.
I agree, because that's something they can't counter. They can deal with this on the national political scene. They're used to that, but on a local scene everywhere, that's something they can't.
Once we know the country's been hijacked by enemies, and this isn't the government, it's over. Just listen to nothing they say. They're criminals. Go look at the evidence. And then just stop listening. It's Tokyo Rose. It's the enemy telling us that George Washington is bad. I have the feds in their manuals and on video denigrating the founding fathers. They are the enemy, period.
Exactly. The mainstream media has jumped on board with the globalists. They have, so they work for them. So
I mean, this sounds like North Koreans would come up with this. They're the enemy. They call us extremists. They're extreme criminals. And we're coming for you. I mean, it's over. It's over. Forget